Right? Jacob, our Christian, talks about him. He says he was the one that was born in a manger, not in a palace. He was the one who had his good news announced to shepherds and not princes. He was the one who chose fishermen and not seminarians, right? Sorry. He was the one who ministered in Galilee and not Rome. He was the one who rode into Jerusalem on a donkey and not a stallion. That's who he was. Who are we? Who are we? Right? When the line is drawn, I'm afraid that often we're on the wrong side of it, right? And so a couple years ago we were in Spain. We're in the Plaza de Mayor. Maybe y'all have been there, right? We're sitting there, Flea and I grab a bottle of wine, a loaf of bread, and we're just checking it out, kicking it, right? This is beautiful. This is something to see. And then it dawns on us, no, this isn't something to see. This is the place where the Inquisition happened. And good-hearted Christians in the name of God, right, slaughtered people here because they wouldn't convert. And so this is the same cobblestone streets where their blood ran. And these are the same walls that absorbed the sound waves of people screaming and crying as the church put them to death. And those are the same windows that kept the smoke of their burning corpses out of my offices, out of our homes, right? Right. Several hundred years ahead, we distance ourselves from that. We say that version of the church was wrong, right? We know that was wrong. Those are good-hearted people, we hope, right? Doing the wrong thing. That's the empire. Well, fast forward, right? Fast forward. Some of you from Australia, I love to talk to my Australian friends because when we're talking about the histories of our country, you often tell me at least you didn't kill your aboriginals. Remember that song, This Land is Our Land? This land is my land, this from California. Do you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes we turn that into a hymn, don't we? But I'm sure that somebody from the Cherokee Nation didn't write that song. I am sure of it. Manifest destiny, right? It was the church. We justified it. It was the empire among us. Slavery. I cannot believe how much I hear that God has blessed America. Certainly, God has been kind to us. We look at our economy today, and some of us think of it as a blessing, but let's ask the Africans, whose bloody backs our economy was built off of. Let's ask the child labor in the coal mines. Let's ask the women who couldn't vote. Is that God's blessing? Is that how he does things? We distance ourselves from that again today. Apartheid, right? It was good-hearted Dutch Reformed Christians. Right? It's the empire. The Civil Rights Movement. Remember this guy, Martin Luther King Jr.? He's in jail. He writes a letter, right, from the Birmingham jail. You guys have read it 100 times. You know it backwards and forward. Why did he write it? Because when he's sitting in jail, 8 pastors write a letter in the newspaper, and they say to Martin Luther King Jr., that's what you get, and this is where you belong. It's the church trying to put him in his place and keep him there. He writes back and he says, you know what? I'm here because injustice is here. And a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We distance ourselves from these things, right? We move away from these things. But, right? In 50 years, when the line's drawn, and they look back at Asbury Seminary in 2005, when they look back at good-hearted Christians in 2005, what side of the line are we going to stand on? Where will we be?